Hello, howdy, hey everybody. So there's something that came into my mind. I had a little bit of a revelation today, so I really wanted to talk about it. But it has to do with this. So I think that we need to make more movies. More movies need to come out each year. Let me explain. I was having a conversation with some of my film friends, and we were kind of talking about how there's so many movies that come out, and how back in the day, as the 2000s were beginning at the start of the century, there were a lot less. And the argument was they were higher quality because they weren't pumping out as many. And that got me thinking, because why are we seeing such an influx of productions with what seems to be feeling like a drop in quality in films? Here's my philosophy. Here's what I came up with. I think after because I watched Iron Lung, and that moved me in such a. I keep looking at myself, and I need to talk to you. So I watched Iron Lung for a second time last night, and it moved me in a way that was so profound. And I think it's because it was so polarizing. When you look at reviews and you read reviews and stuff like that, so many people, don't like the pacing, or they think that the effects, came in too late, or they think the writing was bad, or they think the acting was whatever. But I loved it. So it's like, how can something with such varying opinions exist? It's pretty fascinating, right? Because the simple fact that I didn't have a problem with any of those things while someone else did means that it's subjective, and we know that. But I feel like sometimes we doubt it. Like, we hear, oh, art's subjective, but then something inside is like, well, but I really want everyone to like what I do, right? But I think we need to be making more movies that are targeted towards less people, because it's such a like okay, let me look up how many movies came out last year. 500 to 700 movies came out, US and Canada, last year. I mean, look at this. In 2022, total produced movies, 1,331. Like, that's a ton. I mean, I watch probably 200 movies a year, but I know even the average person watches way less than that. So it's not like we're seeing 1,300 movies a year, obviously. I think it's a scope, right? Because polarizing implies making it a total split. You love it or you hate it. And I think people get so caught up in fear over disliking it. That's why I think big studios are scared of being super targeting a specific mindset or targeting a specific taste in people, is because they're fearful of the people that won't like it. So we land in this middle ground where we want to try and please as many people as we can, and that's the dead space where movies become forgettable, because we all have opinions, like it or not. People are different, and naturally, and we have different opinions, and not everything is for everybody. So it should be the same thing with movies. Not every film is for everybody, because here's the thing: when there's strong criticisms, and a lot of people aren't a fan of it, that's where you see the biggest positives from people. Like Iron Lung, I love it so much. One of the best movies I've seen in a really long time. And then there's people that really, really don't like it. Like giving, rating it half stars. We can talk about the rating system another time. I don't even know, how I feel about that. But how can something be so stark? Like, this contrast is fascinating to me. And I think when we're so concerned about the negative impact that people have, or negative opinions they have of a film, and the negative, backlash it gets, we tend to not think about the positive impacts, like how much stronger that appeal is when it's so polarizing. Because I like to think of it like, we can, if strong dislike and a strong like, if we're landing in the middle, the more we see the splitting opinions, the more extreme the reactions get. And it's so beautiful when we see films move people in a way like that. Like, when we are constantly scared of the negative effects, we don't realize that strong love that we can feel, that inspiration, the power that films can really give us. And that's what we're drifting away from. And that's why it's so refreshing to see people be so divided about the YouTuber movies. Two Sleepy People, Iron Lung. These things that come from an internet culture are incredible, because these people are doing it because they want to do it. They're passionate about it, because YouTube is free to do, right? You're not necessarily getting paid for it until you are. But they love to create. And now they have the chance to create on such a massive spectrum. There's so much opinion and passion, and they're infusing themselves into these films And that's what's so brilliant about it versus when there's so much at stake, right? And there's so much obligation in these bigger films that are trying to please everybody. So I think we need to keep in mind how powerful the strong opinion, how powerful the love is when we're making polarizing media. So that's where I come from when I'm saying I think we need to be making more movies that are targeted towards less people, more movies that are going to have, that are going to be more selective. Like I'm going to like probably a lot more, but I'm also going to dislike a bunch more as well, to really get the most out of the art form for the people that are going to resonate with your stuff. Because like that saying, if you don't got haters, you ain't doing something right. I think that, I don't like to hate on anybody, right? Like that's not what we're about, but it's true in the sense that, and not everyone's for everyone, not every film is for everybody. So I think that that's really what we need to be focusing on. And I think that is why we're seeing so much success and so much passion and so much positive response to these films. And that's why it's standing out, because of that, because they're polarizing. And those are the best type of films. So don't be afraid to infuse yourself into your movies, and don't be afraid of people disliking your work, because that means you're doing it right. And remember that if, someone isn't resonating with your stuff as much as you might have wanted them to, there's going to be someone that's going to love it so much more than you could have ever imagined. Okay, bye.